Hey Siri,
Uh-huh.
what's the weather forecast?
Looks like it will be cloudy today. Daytime temperatures will hover around 55 degrees, with overnight lows around 45.
In recent years, this is the way many people are now choosing to get their weather information. And while it's really neat technology and very convenient, is it really accurate and reliable though? That's our topic today, AI weather on Weather Legends.
It's a handy little device. I use it for a lot of things like mathematics. Divide 13,000 by 572. And Alexa, divide 13,000 by 572.
13,000 divided by 572 is approximately 22.7273.
There you go. Don't even need math anymore. As for weather, it's useful, but it does lack a little bit of detail. If I say, Alexa, what is the forecast for New York City on Saturday?
On Saturday, April 26th in New York, you'll see thunderstorms and can expect a high of 69 degrees Fahrenheit and a low of 48 degrees.
That's nice. Alexa, when will the thunderstorms hit New York on Saturday?
Rain is likely in Albany, New York on Saturday, April 26th.
No, not Albany, New York City.
You can expect about 0.31 inches.
That's when the passive-aggressive stuff starts.
and I asked it before. I'll ask it again. It was a little wrong. Alexa, how much rain fell at Long Island MacArthur Airport last March?
From longisland.com. At Islip's MacArthur Airport, rainfall totals exceeded a foot. The official reading from the National Weather Service was a whopping 13.27 inches.
Wrong. Alexa, you're wrong. It was only 4.76 inches. So yeah, is it useful? It's handy, but it doesn't give you any detail, and you can get the wrong information. You just never know how Alexa is going to handle it. It's a nice little device. You wake up in the morning, what's the temperature? And beyond that, you can't get the detail that we were able to provide over a 1.5 or 2 minute weathercast. There are no visuals.
Actually, I'm going to put a different spin on this.
Okay.
And that is, it actually makes us a lot more useful.
Oh.
Because when you think about it, I'm just thinking about it in terms of my audience that I have.
Yeah.
If they have Alexa saying thunderstorms on Sunday, they're going to come back to me and say, well, I see there's, they're saying thunderstorms for Sunday. Can you tell me what time? Because Alexa's not doing it.
You want a short answer? How I feel about it? But no, the reality is, I think a lot of us as meteorologists still feel we need that human intervention. And I did a little research because where is Alexa getting her forecast from? Where does Siri get her forecast from? In fact, Alexa gets the forecast from AccuWeather. Siri gets it from, they call it Apple Weather, but Apple Weather gets it from the National Weather Service. Which brings to light a whole other thing when we're looking at, all the cuts that are going on to the National Weather Service. That's the background to these things. The relying on it as the ultimate guide to a weather forecast, I think, is a big mistake because, number one, it cannot be updated in an immediacy. It doesn't have the human intervention of a meteorologist to say, hey, wait a minute. We thought it was going to rain in the next 2 or 3 hours. This thing is moving faster. It's going to be here in the next 45 minutes. I don't see those apps having quite that capability yet. I've seen other apps. My son has dissed me by having a weather app saying, looked at it, says it's going to rain and blah, blah, blah. And then I'd sit there with him for 2 hours and I'd look up. I said, do you see any rain? Because I don't see any rain. So again, like anything else, it's still a weather forecast. But I think having the human intervention of a meteorologist watching over that forecast, tweaking it and changing it as you move along is something that you still need to get the best quality forecast, as opposed to just, yes, it's convenient. Yes, it may be accurate 80% of the time. But again, who's also behind these apps and who's behind Siri and Alexa, it probably is in some cases other meteorologists. I don't know how these things have the ability to just forecast the weather by themselves. Let's put it that way.
The interesting thing that I found out is that what do people use the most as far as getting their weather information? 74% use their cell, 6% use TV, and 28% use radio. So 74% people are using their cell, and I think it's because it's quick. And I would think, through 5 days, it can't be all that bad. It's got to be semi-accurate. If I had a choice and I wasn't a meteorologist, I would think that I would probably do the same thing. Just use my phone.
These devices, I can't imagine that they're kind of looking at everything and getting a consensus. Is that true? I mean, this is where it differs from what a meteorologist does. Is that kind of accurate?
Well, if they're using the national blend of models, which is apparently where the Weather Service is going with respect to their short-range forecasts, then yeah, you're using model consensus. And of course, I've always felt that if you're going to average everything together, all you're ever going to have is average results. And I don't think we should be striving for average results. We should be striving for far above average results as far as the quality of the forecast is concerned. We're still in a place, I think, where there's still enough of us around. And when I say us, I'm going to refer to the over 40 crowd that likes to have the feeling of someone telling them rather than just looking at an app. Now, you go below the age of 40, you start to get into the Gen Z group, which, they basically just don't want to socialize or converse with anybody. You put them at a table at a party, and all they'll be doing is texting. They're all sitting next to each other and they're all texting each other rather than actually talking. So when they become the dominant population, and they find that they have, they have no ability to have human contact whatsoever, maybe that's going to be the point where we will be somewhat obsolete. I don't know. A lot's going to depend on where the technology goes between, it's changed. It changes so quickly. That's the thing that mind boggles me. It changes so quickly. I mean, you look at how it progressed from, say, 1990 to 2000, and then from 2000 to 2010, and then the next decade after that, and the last 5 years. I feel like the way we're doing things now is like night and day from how we were doing it 5 years ago. I mean, it's enormous, the amount of changes and how quickly they come. So I have no idea where we're going to be 5 years from now with all of this stuff.
Point is, I think right now, we agree the best forecasts are a combination of the computer information and the human input of this thing. And all those forecasts from Siri or Alexa or wherever, coming from basic National Weather Service data, the computer models. These companies don't have their own supercomputers they're running. So it's just another way of distributing it. And I think, Joe's right that the new generation is a show me now. Give me 15 seconds. I'm out of here doing something else. And
show me now. Don't talk to me. Don't look right.
Yeah.
Right. Don't look at me because you're going to try. It's going to trigger something, and I'm going to need therapy for weeks to get over it. Yeah, that's the world. That's that world, and it's frustrating. It's frustrating. I think the frustrating part for me with the app was when someone says to me in the forecast, says, "What do you forecast? Why is your forecasting that?" Because my app says. All right. Well, I don't know. Why don't you ask your app the same question? the human element remains as long as we remain human with each other. And the state of affairs of the way things are right now, that's hard to imagine that's going to be the case. But I try to be optimistic with this sort of stuff, though. I think there's always going to be a need for someone to give a human interpretation, a human conversation, a human's view. At least certainly, in our lifetime. Maybe 100 years from now or 50 years from now, it'll be different.
One huge advantage to this kind of thing, if there's a warning, it shows up. You don't have to search for it. It beeps, it shakes. I've got a watch now. It tells me when there's an alert or a weather warning. So that's where these things really, really play very well.
Well, they save lives.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no reason you don't know about a severe thunderstorm warning or a hurricane warning. The days of being able to live in a hole and not know what's going on around you is over with, as long as you have a tracking device with you, because that's what these things are anyway. But yeah, from that standpoint, it's great because the warnings get out there faster than the TV folks could get it out.
Aside from the warnings, how do they update conditions that are rapidly changing, as Bill pointed out? Let's just hypothetically say that, here I am sitting on Long Island in a massive snowstorm, and they're saying 6 to 12 inches. I already have 12 inches on the ground. What do I do? As far as going to my phone, Alexa, they're saying 6 to 12. I have 12 on the ground. It's still snowing. When does it update?
Well, it's going to update when its sources update.
Right.
So that's another supporting point to the idea that there's still plenty of stuff for us to do.
Right.
And an audience for it.
But if I see a mixed precipitation icon for Saturday, does that tell me everything? And shouldn't it be important to know when the snow is going to mix, sleet, and change? Isn't that a problem, Pat, that if you're really looking to plan your day or plan travel, that an app or something like that would probably not be quite as useful as, let's say, a meteorologist showing, let's say, a futurecast map, correct?
It can't, again, because all of these forecasts are computerized. They're coded. So they just take the raw data and transfer it over to icons and the whole bit. And that's why, it's, what can we say, a thumbnail of what the weather would be. But as Bill pointed out too, you will just not have the detail that you would get from a personal meteorologist. No way.
While apps don't necessarily show hype, they also are not telling the story in the way that forecasting is like an art, right, Bill? When you do your forecast, do your information, what are you trying to convey? What are you trying to do that makes you different from just being a robot?
Well, there's the personality, and I don't want to say acting aspect, but the communication aspect, where people could look at me and hear me and know when I was being serious about something. And this is lacking in the monotone of ALEXA or SIRI. So communication is still something that stuff has trouble doing on the way that we can with stuff like that. And you miss the localism too. It's very nice to get these forecasts out of these things, but you're not getting weather input from somebody that lives in the town over like we can get now. So I think that's the big thing. It's still communication. I could go up there and say, today, partly sunny, warm, high 70. Tomorrow, rain, low 40. It's not the same as today. It's going to be great. It's going to be sunny and warm. Get out there and do, that's what's lacking with the digital world right now, I think.
I mean, the technology is fabulous, but like I said, it's for real life encounters and needs with weather, particularly dangerous or impending or significant weather that can change your life per se. Is this what we're going to be depending on in the next 10, 20 years, Pat? I mean, isn't there a better way?
I'm afraid, just like Joe said, next 5 years, who could tell exactly where it will be in the next 5 years? But at the rate things are changing, I guarantee that is going to be the way.